Hi everyone, welcome to your EDUC 3313 Module 1 for Innovative Lesson Plans Design PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to be walking you through the key parts of lesson planning as well as game-based learning, gamification, etc. And we'll get you started on your first module, Producible. So I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. That will make all the images as well as the links active, and I suggest you do the same on your computer. So for this semester, we are going to start using our Integrating Technology in the Classroom textbook. It describes tools to meet the needs of every student, and so please follow this link or click on the image, and that will take you to Amazon. This book is very inexpensive in regards to most technology-based textbooks. It's a $9.99 download from Kindle. You can buy with one click if you've got that set up. It can go to any of these devices. If you have not downloaded Kindle to your device, please go ahead and do so. And you can click on this link here in order to read it on any device that you've loaded the Kindle app on. I have it on my laptop, I have it on my iPad, my iPhone, etc. So once you get it downloaded, you'll see that it's broken up into several chapters and covers the core parts of integrating technology into the classroom at the teacher perspective. And of course, I will enhance it with different instructional materials as we go along through these presentations. So back to our PowerPoint. Here is the reading schedule that I've outlined for you. For chapters 1 through 3, you should read for our Module 1. Module 2, you're going to read chapters 4 through 6. Module 3, you're going to read 7 and 8, Module 4, 9 and 10, Module 5, 11, 12, Module 6, 13, and 14. So by the end of this module, please make sure you have read those 3 chapters. Your Module 1 quiz as well as your discussion boards will be based on those 3 chapters for this module. Here are some of the items that we're going to be covering in this module. We use an ICARE, so ICARE lesson planning model, and here's a little bit more about that. You can go ahead and click on this Google Drive link, and it should download this full article for you describing that instructional design model. Here are the standards we're going to be covering. Standard 2 of the ISTE NETs. It's International Society for Technology Education. I told you in our Getting Started module that those are the standards we're going to use for technology integration. And then we do cover all in-task standards via this artifact as well. Here's a video as an introduction to the TPAC model. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this link or click on the photo, and this will give you a brief video introduction into TPAC. TPAC is one of the core models for integrating technology into a lesson plan or a unit. And so if you'll go ahead and click on this link and then click on that start, it's a 5-minute video introducing you to the core parts. The acronym stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. So you have the technology, you have the pedagogy, which is learning strategies or strategies in order to instruct or teach your students, generally non-adult students, children, youth. And then the content. So what are you actually trying to teach? So you have the teaching and learning strategies here, you have the technology, and this is what you're actually teaching, the content knowledge. And so for our lesson plan, for our module, the technology is going to be basically web-based strategies. We're talking about game-based learning, gamification. We're introducing you to coding and to gaming, all as particular content areas. The technology is you're going to be using Microsoft Word and the template and the internet in order as the technology to deliver this content. And then the pedagogy is the TPAC model, as well as we're going to talk about SAMR and is Bloom's taxonomy as well. Okay, so go ahead and finish watching that video and then come back to the presentation. Here is that TPAC model in an image, in a graphic. So go ahead and click on that link, and it will take you to the tpac.org website. And this is the main website for TPAC. And again, TPAC is used from K to 20 education in order for sound technology integration principles. Okay, and so here's a lot of information for you. There's a TPAC Academy, there's reading materials, Q&A, etc. So whenever you're thinking about the kind of the conceptual theoretical principles of technology integration, you're going to think TPAC. Okay. Now another conceptual theoretical principle to integrating technology into lesson plans is Bloom's taxonomy. Just about in every lesson planning format that you'll use, Bloom's taxonomy is important. Here is a 1 and 30-second video, and it gives you an introduction to the revised Bloom's taxonomy, which was recently updated, I think, within the past 10-15 years. So go ahead and either click there on the screen or click on the link. And Bloom's taxonomy basically is questioning and learning at the various levels of knowledge acquisition. So we'll skip this ad in about 6 seconds. We'll let it go. So basically you're going from a very factual-based knowledge to false questions and answers to having the students actually progress through up to creating and evaluating information that they read. So we'll skip that ad now. And then you can make it enter the full screen there. Okay. And this is created in Powtoon. It's a fun little video just introducing you to Bloom's taxonomy, but this is critical to objective writing. So you all are going to be writing objectives and, of course, lesson plans, and Bloom's taxonomy is a core to writing objectives and lesson plans. So go ahead and watch that video again. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the presentation. And this is an overview of how Bloom's taxonomy, which you just watched the video on, integrates with Tech for Teachers. So go ahead and go to Schrock Guide, and she has a lot of great information about integrating technology. Kathy Schrock's been doing this for a very long time, so her blog is quite comprehensive, and just about any theory, concept, practical advice that you're looking for, Kathy Schrock Guide will have that. So here is a little bit more about her Bloom's and SAMR. So Bloom's taxonomy you just learned about, it's those different levels of knowledge acquisition and objective writing. And then she talks about the hybrid between SAMR, which we're going to look at in just a minute, and Bloom's. And so she's saying that at the very base level of Bloom's taxonomy, just remembering, fact recall, right? Those true, false, yes, no questions, and then the next level would be understanding. And then can the students, once they remember and understand, can they apply it to a new situation? After they can apply it, can they actually analyze what that new information means? So then after they analyze it, then they evaluate, and then can they create something new with all of that information. Now here are the different Tech for Teachers and students mapping onto that. And so for the teacher, here is where the teacher designs a task using traditional pedagogy with technology and supports this learning. And then they use multiple tech tools to create enhanced learning experiences, and typically that happens in the application stage. Now with the student level, here's where their choice comes in, and the teacher sets the goal and the students choose what they're going to do, and then they apply it, they analyze, and they evaluate. And then lastly, here's where the student interest drives learning. So they kind of take over and they go, okay, what's next based on what I know? And they're going to start evaluating and creating. So this is a wonderful tool. Here's the SAMR model that we referenced, and SAMR stands for, and you'll hear this in just about every K-12 technology-infused classroom, some even non-technology-infused classroom. It's really prevalent throughout the U.S., certainly throughout Oklahoma. So I need you to be familiar with it, and you may not hear about it in another class. So SAMR stands for Substitution, Augmentation, Modification, Redefinition. Now in a regular classroom, students would just be note-taking, researching, presenting, file sharing, reading, assessing. In a SAMR-infused or technology-infused classroom, here is how they would substitute technology for this kind of rote note-taking. They would use their phone for taking notes. In an augmentation setting, they would choose their own notes app. So instead of assigning them one, you would allow, say you can take any notes in any app you choose. It could be Evernote, it could be your notes app, it could be Google, Google Word or Word for Google, it could be Microsoft Word, whatever they wanted to do, Notepad. And then in the modification stage, they would use Notability. So all the students are taking notes in Notability and then sharing their notes together. You could also do that in Google Word as well. Under redefinition, then the students not only share amongst themselves, but the students have, or the teacher has access to those student notes. Same thing with researching. So instead of just going to the library and doing research from the card catalog, they would use Safari and copy and paste information. Next level up, they would bookmark and share notes using the share button. They would download and notate with Notability, or they would use collaborative mind maps if they were totally redefining using technology. So this is meant as a progression to kind of lower tech. This is no tech, this is lower tech, some tech, more tech, high tech. Okay? All right. Here is some, here's a graphic that maps SAMR, so that substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition, to Bloom's taxonomy and to iPad apps. So this is a lot of tools for you. This class is meant to give you both a theoretical and a practical application, background experience in instructional technology integration in the classroom. And so it's not just about apps, but I do want to give you some tools. And so on this outside gray ring, you have SAMR, redefinition, modification, augmentation. Okay, so say you're wanting students, you've been working for a long time, and their final project, you want them to do some new tasks previously inconceivable. You want them to start making something new, redefining what they're learning. So you're going to stay over in this area, the purple and the yellow. And then moving in, you want them to actually be at the Bloom's creativity level, at the creator level. And so you're going to stay in this purple level. And so your action verbs or your objective verbs could be they're going to suggest, they're going to suppose, they can compose, they can imagine. And here's what they're going to be doing. Here's their function. They're going to be animating. There's their activities. So this is the verb. This is what they're going to actually be doing, and here's what they're going to be doing it with. So students are going to produce an animation with an iMovie and publish it and share it amongst their other colleagues, or have an animation movie night, or they can produce an animation with Animation Express. Okay, and there's your whole lesson all laid out for you. Same thing with, say you want them to evaluate. Students are going to evaluate, or they're going to rank the postings of other K-12 educators on Google Plus about a certain topic, or they're going to rank TED videos or YouTube videos. Okay, so that's an example of how to write a lesson plan or write some objectives with the SAMR and Bloom's taxonomy all in one tool. You can replace these tools with whatever, but this is still a great objective writing or lesson planning graphic in order to get you started. Here are your ISTE standards for NETs. These are the 2016 ISTE standards, which you definitely should know about. This guides a lot of instruction throughout technology in K-12 schools throughout the U.S. And so Your students in this one are going to be empowered learners. Certainly they're going to be creative communicators, global collaborators. So these are brand new, and once you go to this website, you can click on the plus and view the extra indicators here. You can also download the 2016 standards for students. The last time they were updated was 2007. Okay, back to the presentation. Computational thinker is one of the biggest upgrades, and we're going to talk a little bit about computational thinking in the future slides. Here is another tool for you. This is a curriculum planning tool that I've downloaded. It is for fee. It's a $3.95 download. For the first time this semester, I am suggesting, I have required the book, the $9.99 book, Integrating Technology in the Classroom book at the beginning of the presentation, but these are suggested as well. So $3.95, it's still, in total, all these resources are much less than a typical textbook. And so you can go ahead and download that, and here's a little sample of it. You can look at the sample in the introduction, okay? Scrolling forward, another great resource by ISTE is this tools and resources. I'm using the ISTE website quite a bit for this module. But curriculum framework and student-centered learning. So here is, these three are very helpful. So go ahead and click on these links, read through them. What you're doing is looking for potential resources that you're going to use in your final lesson plan, which I've provided you samples and templates for. Okay. Here you have a rubric for effective teacher technology use, and this is a really great rubric so that you can keep this when in your toolbox as you start teaching. And this is a rubric to let you know if you are actually integrating technology at the level you should be. So hopefully this is what principals and superintendents are using in order to integrate technology into their classroom, but you have distinguished, proficient, and basic. Okay, hopefully you all will be to the distinguished level soon. Also, we have our Oklahoma State Department of Ed curriculum resources. We have Indian education that I wanted you to know there's lots of resources there since you're working in Oklahoma. Most of you, some of you may be in Texas, but if you're in Oklahoma, there's a great resource here. And there are lesson plans and curriculum guides and resources that can be very helpful. There's Native American resources for you. I am the secretary for the Oklahoma Council on Indian Education and have worked with these committees. So let's go ahead and get to that resource. Okay, so here's Indian Tribe Education Guides, lesson plans, resources, academic standards, etc. You can also submit a lesson plan. So this will give you some great ideas about how to integrate not only technology and education into your classroom, but also culturally responsive, because there's lots of tribes within Oklahoma, and to deal with that in your class. Such as Columbus Day. If you're needing a lesson plan, this is a great place to come. All right. And then here is your academic standards. Here you click on this link and up here, and it will take you, and then you just click on whatever grade level you're going to be writing your standards for. Here's your P21, your Partnership for 21st Century Learning. And this is a separate group of standards that this consortium got together, and they thought, what are the skills that our K-12 students are going to need to go into either a significant, successful college or career program. And so here are those frameworks, and I wanted you to at least know about it. And hopefully you'll be using those in your lesson plan, or at least in your classroom. So with all that lesson planning theory, here is some game-based and learning and gamification theory and practice that you can integrate as well. Here is a great article. It is a scholarly, peer-refereed article that you can use. Talks about games as a new digital literacy. It was written by Kurt Squire. He's one of the leaders in game-based learning on the planet. So go ahead and click on this link and download that article to your computer. And once it loads, you can go ahead and click download. Okay, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's less than 10 pages, so go ahead and read through that. Some of it may be above your head a little bit, but that's okay, as long as you're absorbing the information at some level. I wanted you to at least get experience with some scholarly publications about game-based learning. And then here's a video about gaming can make a better world. This is Jane McGonigal. She's one of the leading scholars, honestly, on game-based learning and gamification. So go ahead. And this was published back in 2010, but it's probably now closer to 5 million viewers. It's definitely one of the key ones. So go ahead and watch that video. Here is the Office of Education Technology at the federal level, and they publish a lot of game-based learning initiatives. They have game jams, they have contests and summits, as you can see. So go ahead and follow them. You might get some ideas for your lesson plan here. And then here is University of Wisconsin. That's Kurt Squire. He wrote that scholarly article that I gave to you. But they built one of the leading groups at University of Wisconsin School of Ed about research and design for games for learning. So you might, again, get some ideas for your lesson plan on this site. So please go ahead and visit gamesandlearningsociety.org. You can follow them. Here is a wiki on gamification of education. So this previous slides were about game-based learning. This is about gamification of education, which are two very different things. Game-based learning is basically using games to empower learning, like Minecraft or Scratch or that sort of thing. Gamification is about adding game-based principles to your existing classroom, like XP points and badges and leveling up, those sort of games. So go ahead and read through that. Here's the link. And again, be asking yourself the difference between game-based learning and gamification. They do have a crossover, but they're two very different things. Okay. Here is MindShift's Guide to Digital Games and Learning. It was published in 2014, but it's a pretty good comprehensive guide even still, so I wanted you to see it. And you can download that and read through it. Okay, there's the link. Again, you may be looking for ideas. You're only supposed to choose one item, either a game-based learning tool, like Minecraft, etc., or something you read about here. Here's the PDF. So you're going to click here. And then you click on this link for the PDF, and it will download it to your computer. Okay. Here's the game-based learning roundup. Here's a bunch of resources and game concepts for the classroom, video games, etc. Go ahead and read through that. Now, there you saw in the ISTE standards earlier that computational thinking is now a standard. What is the difference between coding and computational thinking? Go ahead and look at this video. Click on the link here. Watch the video. And as part of coding, there is some game-based design principles in computational thinking and coding, as well as the maker movement, which, if you've heard of Arduinos, Lego Robotics, e-textiles, Raspberry Pi, any of those wearables, all of that, the maker movement, the Make magazine, is one of the leading organizations in that area. 3D printing, all of that is the maker movement, which is part of instructional technologies, right? So the Maker Fair is a large conference type thing. I went to the one in Silicon Valley back in 2013, and it's incredible. So, and there is strong potential for science, technology, engineering, and math teaching and learning with the maker movement. So go ahead and visit that link, and this is the link to their lesson plans and resources. You can pick any of these resources to base your lesson plan on, and maybe you want your students to collect and display weather data with a Raspberry Pi. You're a science teacher. Maybe your students are going to build a balance bot. Maybe they're going to do a handbag that lights up. Okay, all of these are considered Maker Ed, and they are part of Learning Technologies Technology Integration. Here's a drone that y'all can make. In these, they have the lesson plans already there, but you can go ahead and base your lesson plans on these lesson plans and just tweak it for Oklahoma standards and your potential classroom. Okay. The next one is cseducationcode.org. This is the main website for teaching coding in K-12 schools. So there's the Hour of Code, there's Beyond Code. I think we have a strong elementary education program, so I went on elementary school, and there are lots of lesson plans already created for you. You would just adapt them for our course, utilizing the template and the standards that I gave you. So here's how to get started with Code Studio. Here is the CS fundamentals. You can watch those videos. And here's the curriculum overview. Okay. And so you can download this complete curriculum for courses 1 through 4. So here's your full coding curriculum to teach students at the earliest levels. So it tells you even 4 to 6, 6 plus, 8 plus. Here's your lesson plans, your scope and sequence, your frameworks, your standards, everything. You can download that complete curriculum and base your lesson plan in this course on that curriculum. Okay? Just pick one. That's my only request. Is you have a ton of potential here. I'm giving you a lot of information so that you'll have this toolbox of information when you graduate and go to teach, but you just pick one for this lesson plan in order to not overwhelm you. Here is a little bit of computer science information about Oklahoma. As you can, there's 71% of the new jobs, STEM jobs, are in computing, and we only have 8% of the STEM graduates are in computer science. So we need a lot more computer science students who are familiar with the principles and can code, and they would walk right into a job. And so I thought you should see about this. So go ahead and click on the link or the picture, and it'll take you to their website. Oklahoma had only 411 computer science graduates in 2014, and only 18% of those, so less than 70 were female. Another route for game-based learning is we do have some applications that teachers are using very successfully. Minecraft is one of them. I do expect you, and you'll see that, to create a Minecraft account. Many teachers, I should say, at least, and be fair, are using Minecraft, and I don't know of an elementary school age student who does not love Minecraft. In fact, we're getting Minecraft set up here at Southeastern. So here, why use Minecraft? Go ahead and watch this video. It's a 7.5-minute video. My friend Wes Fryer created this. There's a ton of lesson ideas there for you. There's a free ebook, How Teachers Learn to Use Minecraft in Their Classrooms. There's lesson resources, there's the community, there's the wiki. That's a big deal. There's a lot of folks that use that wiki to learn how to use it. And Minecraft EDU. Now there's, we're going to go back and talk about Minecraft again in a minute, but there's another program that's similar to Minecraft that I used years ago. I learned how to use it in Santa Clara, California, back in 2012, and this is alice.org, and this is 3D game design. So this is where they're actually designing their own game. In Minecraft, they're actually just kind of building worlds, and they kind of operate within the worlds that are given to them. Alice, it's actually a full storytelling. It was designed at a Carnegie Mellon. It's very good. There's resources, there's how-to guides, tutorial videos, they have instructional materials, they have lesson plans, everything you can imagine they have for you. MIT Scratch, they here are all their resources. This was developed out of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and a lot of students use Scratch to start coding as well. Okay, so that's another option. They have lesson plans already ready to go. You will just adapt them, one of their lesson plans, for your lesson plan in this course. Also, I get a lot of questions on using smart boards or interactive whiteboards, especially for games, where the students can interact with the board, etc. So here is PBS Kids, and this is Smart Board Games, and you can use with their whiteboard. Here is more interactive whiteboard games with Teachers Pay Teachers, and you can download these games for very low cost. It's not required, but just so you know. Sorry, my computer just jumped ahead there for a minute. Okay. And then here's a little bit more about gamification in education. And Vicki Davis has a very successful blog. You should follow her. Now, in starting to gamify your classroom, here is a infographic about how to gamify your classroom in 5 simple steps. Go ahead and click on that link. And step 1 is create a website or use an LMS. We're going to be talking about this more in a minute. You have Classcraft, which some people do, 3D Game Lab, Classroom, Schoology, Edmodo. Any of those are fine. I'm not going to teach you about every one, but you're welcome to. All of them have quick start guides, and they all are good gamification style LMSs that you can use. I suggest you try each one of them out and see which one works for you. Decide the rules, and typically your classroom will have rules, and you can use those and maybe adapt them a little bit for the technology integration and badges. Create challenges. Of course, you want students to be able to progress with challenges, reasons they get rewards or they level up. You can use your objectives, your rubrics, etc. And then you, of course, put together a leaderboard. A little bit of friendly competition is very, very good, and then have fun. Okay. Class Dojo has become extremely popular as well, using that as your gamification LMS learning management system. I do recommend you sign up for it. There's a lot of folks in southeastern Oklahoma that are using it, and that's a great way to kind of track your classroom gamification and participation as well. And all the materials you need to get started, to sign up, etc. are in you can find via this link. So here are some other tech tools. When we're talking, I showed you that pedagogy website, or that slide earlier that showed you how to pick an objective, an activity, and then the tool. Well, here's some extra tools for you. Go ahead and click on that link. And this is kind of a roundup from ISTE 2016, where I presented a session on the 10 tech tools that were the favorites for everybody who attended. Here is TED Ed lessons. Here's a whole compendium of lesson plans already created. You can choose your grade level, your content, the video duration. This is kind of an alternative to YouTube, and it also has lessons with it. Okay. Khan Academy has a great load of lesson plans available. Now, you're going to write your own lesson plan, but you can certainly use Khan Academy as a resource in that lesson plan as well. Lots of well built out lesson plans and learning modules for your students. So say that you're teaching 6th grade, but you have a student that's operating at a 1st grade level or a 12th grade level. You can supplement their content on Khan Academy, and it kind of individualizes their learning. Same thing with OER Commons. Lots of lesson plans for free for you here. You can certainly go there and get ideas for your lesson plan that you're going to create for May. Here's your discussion board for this week. and you can read through those 5 questions. Please make sure you do your initial post by Wednesday at 11:59, and then follow up by Saturday at 11:59. Okay. Note here at the bottom, share 2 to 3 key learnings from our textbooks, chapters 1 through 3. Okay. Everything else maps directly to the content that I just shared with you. Here's how I'll be grading your discussion boards. And here's a sample of your rubric of how I'll be grading your lesson plans. Here's a sample of a lesson plan. Please note my highlighted areas and pay special attention to those highlighted areas. In the past, this is where our students have had issues, is that they haven't given exact websites or tools. People have just said, technology, be as specific as possible. Please make sure in the overview that you give me a half to a full sentence from each of these sections. So you should briefly 1/2 sentence to a sentence on assessment, your resources, your instructional plan, etc. Okay. Please make sure you're listing specific strategies to make sure the students have all the skills and tools to be successful in your lesson. What will the students complete or do? The assessment, make sure you tell me how you're going to decipher between what's an A product and what's an F product. Just don't tell me the work will be graded. And how or what's your strategy? Are you going to use a rubric, a 4-point rubric, a 5-point rubric? How will I know that you know how to determine who got an A and who got an F? Okay. And then differentiation is critical. So how are you going to differentiate for the students who have special learning needs? Maybe they're super advanced, maybe they're gifted and talented, maybe they can't hear, maybe they are a second language learner. How are you going to, and you don't have to give a strategy for every student, but put 2 or 3 ways that you are going to accommodate for somebody who's not a traditional student in that grade level in that subject. So if you're teaching 6th grade, if you're going to accommodate for a student reading at a 1st grade level when the content is at a 6th grade level and pretty high. Okay. Closure and reflection. How are you going to close up, kind of wrap up, summarize the activity, and then reflect on an individual basis? I also wanted to give you some, here's another tool with Google Docs. This was just published last year, a new lesson plan tool for Google Docs, which you do have an account for now. Here's some additional training if you have time and you need it with cloud computing. And there's 13 units. All of this maps to the education profession, building interactive lessons, video, teaching students online skills, facilitating group work in an online setting, how to promote digital citizenship and online behavior, all of that from this training. Also, lesson planning with Google and HyperDocs. This is a really great tool that gives you a framework like this. Now, this is different than the ISTE template that I gave you, but it's still good information that will help you with the ISTE template that is required, and here's the link to that. Here's some other lesson plan samples. This is on passion-based learning with the lesson plans described, and you'll find the PDF of that in our Blackboard. Here's also the PDF of Blackboard on Learning on the Go. Please do sign up for education.minecraft.edu. I have no doubt your students will be playing this, have been playing this, and so I want you to be up to speed with Minecraft. It's $5 a month. Again, all of this is far less than a textbook. So when you click on class resources here, you can also there are lesson plans for you to download there. So go ahead and sign up at that link. You can definitely build your lesson plan around Minecraft. So again, you're going to pick one of the tools that I shared with you, whether it's Minecraft, whether it's Scratch, or Class Dojo, whatever, and interactive whiteboards is fine, Alice, and you're going to build one lesson plan around that item. You can use existing lesson plans that I showed you, those repositories, and tweak it to match our class. And so basically you're going to have a 3-page, your content's probably going to be no more than a page, but this is what you're turning into me. This is what you're going to upload into the link, the Turnitin link, is this template. So, and I've provided that in the Blackboard module. I hope that is clear. Previous semesters we've done the lesson plan based, the content of the TPAC was on digital citizenship. I've changed that this semester, and now you're going to pick your content as game-based learning or gamification. So you're going to pick one tool, one content area, and write a lesson plan around that while illustrating out the standards, etc., etc. Okay? Thank you very much for your attention, and please do not hesitate to call me, contact me, email me with questions. Of course, please first post those in our helpful Q&A discussion board so that I can answer one person and everybody get the benefit instead of answering numerous emails on the same subject. Okay, thank you, and we're off to a good start. Have a great day.